Hey, Dennis here, and this second in my series, The Scene Maker. I want to share with you a few of my shadow boxes in my collection. For right now, I've quit selling them because I enjoy having them and displaying them in my home. They are always a conversation starter. They cover a large range of subjects, anything from science fiction movies to ancient fossils, Indian artifacts, and relics, and so very much more. I hope you'll enjoy taking a close-up look at these. These are three of my favorites that I've made, but I'll share more with you in other videos too. But these three I wanted to begin with. When I was a kid, many years ago, every Friday and Saturday night after the 11:30 or the 11 o'clock news, I would watch Theater Thrills on WJRT TV out of Flint, Michigan. And Theater Thrills was hosted by a groovy ghoul named Christopher Coffin. One of the movies that scared the heck out of me when I was a kid was Invasion of the Saucermen. Of course, now I realize how campy the movie was. I created this shadow box, which brings back lots of memories to me of those days when I was young and easily scared by things. In this shadow box is a bobblehead featuring one of the Saucermen. Now, this bobblehead is, to me, it's really cool because it has lots of detail and it looks pretty much just like the creature in the 1957 film. One of the on the base are four little glow-in-the-dark aliens that resemble the Saucermen, and in the background is a reprint of one of the lobby cards from the film, as well as a mini poster and a teaser strip shown as part of the original theatrical trailer. This shadow box display measures 11.5 by 9.5 by 4.5 inches. I built this display during the summer of 2012. Next is a display that is richly nostalgic, and is titled simply the Milk Delivery Wagon. This display features a cast iron toy horse-drawn milk wagon, delivery wagon that is. Now, this is not a genuine antique piece, but it's from the 1970s when there was a craze of nostalgia and many cast iron toy replicas were on the market. These are now very collectible in their own right. In the background is a hand-painted piece I found at a local thrift store. This is really a really nice-looking old house that you'd almost like to walk right into. I could not find a milkman to use in the scene, so the closest I could find was a Sunshine Bakerman from the 1940s or 50s, who was originally part of a Salt and Pepper set. Oftentimes, when out searching for relics, I come across broken china dolls, and I save all of the parts, but am particularly happy when I find a doll head, as I can always work them into one of my scenes. Peeking from the milk delivery wagon are three doll heads. There are two girls from the 1880s, by their looks anyways, and a boy circa about 1900 to 1910, that particular era. They actually look as if they're having fun in the delivery wagon. This shadow box display measures 11 by 9 by 4 3/4 inches. I built this scene during the fall of 2014, and it is always exciting for me to see the pieces come together in such a way as they are quite often fun to look at and have out for other people to see. Now, this next one is a really fine display, a rather rare fossil, and that being an immature sea scorpion. Most sea scorpion fossils found are quite large indeed, very impressive looking. Really a little bit frightening if you ever actually encountered one of the creatures. But this small fossil is the only immature specimen that I've ever seen, and where I found it was in a place that I would never have expected. You see, one day I walked with a friend of mine to a local bank, and I decided to wait outside while she did her business. So I sat on the curb and began looking at the decorative rock that had been trucked in. I oftentimes find fossils this way. That is where I spotted the baby sea scorpion. I very rarely buy a shadow box to use. I build them myself. However, for this one, I bought the shadow box, and the effect is very nice, professional-looking display. I included a scan of the backside of the matrix stone in the shadow box because it has an unusual fossil of type I've not seen before and have not been able to identify what it is. Also included is part of an adult sea scorpion, or a print of an adult sea scorpion. This find is a personal favorite of mine. According to science, this little creature would have lived many millions of years ago. The unit itself measures about 2.5 inches deep by 8 by 10. And finally, for this time around, are these images showing a wall in my apartment living room where are displayed 20 plus shadow boxes, and then a second wall and desk display featuring 7 shadow boxes in display. Years ago now, I lived up in Greenwood Bush, Michigan, and had a friend by the name of Jack Henniger, a unique and most unusual person to be sure. I will always remember a comment he made as he looked around my house one evening at all the displays that I'd built, and he smiled, and he said, "The weird and wonderful world of Dennis Morrison. I like to think that what I create is wonderful, and sometimes with a touch of the weird." Hey, be sure to subscribe, as I hope to at least weekly share with you some of my Shadowbox and Shadow Book creations.